When Spider-Man 2 was announced, no one expected the game to cause this much controversy. The original Spider-Man is considered to be close to a masterpiece. While the sequel is still highly praised, certain decisions are causing a stir online. Most of the controversy surrounding Spider-Man 2 centers on the look of Mary Jane, with many feeling that her looks have been downgraded. I have covered this topic before and have stated that I felt that the controversy was blown out of proportion. While it is understandable why people are on edge over any changes made to characters, in this case, there might be a bit of an overreaction. While this is my personal opinion, I do not believe that Mary Jane in any way was made to be ugly. Some could even argue that she looks better now. The only difference I saw was the fact that Mary Jane is slightly older and changed her hair color. Despite this, the look for MJ was noticeable enough for many fans to dislike the changes. It is worth pointing out that there are many reasons for these changes. It is also understandable why fans will be on edge regarding these types of things. We are finding ourselves in the middle of drastic changes being made to characters in the space of all entertainment. This includes movies, series, and, of course, video games. Sadly, these changes are not always to the benefit of the story or even the group of people it is supposed to advance. While there is a big drive for diversity, equality, and inclusion, drastic changes often hurt these causes. While there is a massive drive towards inclusion within the space of entertainment, in video games, there is an additional fight. For some time now, there has been a discussion about how women are portrayed in video games. In particular, people are complaining about women only serving the purpose of eye candy. While I wholeheartedly disagree with this assessment, these concerns have reached studio executives. Since then, there has been an active push to change the appearance of certain women characters. While some argue that these changes are made to give women larger roles filled with more depth, others argue that the changes simply make women uglier. Anytime there is a woman who is even mildly attractive or wears anything revealing, people cry sexism. While I do not believe there is a push to make video game women ugly, specific changes are hard to ignore. Whether you believe that the outrage against Spider-Man 2 is just or not, many think that the game is facing similar issues with Mary Jane. In an attempt not to sexualize the character, fans feel that Insomniac made an overcorrection with her looks. The accusation against the game is self-insertion. This is a practice where studios do not design a character from scratch. Instead, they insert an existing person into the game. Sometimes, they insert an executive working at the studio into the game. Other times, they model the character after the motion cap actor, and on certain occasions, they will model the character after the voice actor. Many dislike this practice because it takes away from what voice acting should be. You are not cast to play yourself or a version of a character that looks like you. You should be able to voice someone that looks nothing like you. The current look for Mary Jane is modeled after an Insomniac writer. While there are disputes over whether this is a self-insertion, the similarities are uncanny. Once again, I feel that the character design, in this case, is perfectly fine. Even if this is just a self-insertion. However, you can always leave it to the internet to dig slightly deeper. Once fans discovered that MJ has a striking resemblance to a writer, they were very quick to uncover her online profile. In it, she writes, "Let's get real for a second. Storytelling is impactful no matter what medium it's in. As a queer and hard of hearing person, I am looking forward to learning about the world around me while still telling stories true to my personal experiences. I aim to write impactful stories with representation that audiences could see themselves in. Who doesn't want to see themselves in their favorite games? It is that last part that is sending red flags all around for people." While this writer did not write the entire game, she is responsible for many of the side missions. When you compare these words to the missions she wrote, you can see the connection immediately. The question now becomes, is inserting yourself into a game a problem? At the core of it all, it is not always a bad thing. Drawing inspiration from your personal life can lead to good storytelling. Things can become a bit more complicated when you are also drawing inspiration from your own worldview. When you add your own likeness, it becomes even more complicated. In this case, though, as mentioned, it has not been confirmed that MJ was modeled after this writer. Mirroring the likeness of a real person in a video game is becoming more common. As video games advance, the graphics will improve with it. There used to be a time when video game avatars were created solely on PCs with a very small team. Now, there are entire production teams with hundreds of writers, designers, and directors. They longer simply design a character and animate it. There are entire teams working on motion capture with green screens in massive Hollywood studios. This is a big reason why video games are also so expensive now. Due to this, it is easy for an executive or writer to add their likeness to a game. It is a big reason why many voice actors play themselves in games. The gaming space has evolved so much that video game voice actors are now just actors. In certain instances, they even hire Hollywood actors for video games. Thus, this writer possibly inserting herself into the game is easy to believe. However, we need to ask ourselves if this is fine. People have been calling for more realistic-looking games for years now. Many will argue that this is what a realistic woman looks like. In some ways, they are not wrong. It is worth pointing out, though, that self-insertion is not a widespread practice yet. However, I predict that it soon will be. Voice actors will become obsolete in video games and simply be replaced by actors. The casting will work the same as with movies. The actor you cast to play a video game character will need to look the part as well as sound the part because they will be inserted into the game. This writer has a striking resemblance to Mary Jane. While many do not like her look, as mentioned, I do not find much fault in the character. One opinion about Spider-Man 2 is positive for the most part. While some did not enjoy the game, many found this sequel to be a great time.